Welcome to Central Innovations TV. I'm Princess2goddess, or P2G for short, and this is the the community of mirrors. Okay, look. So I'm not exactly sure what just happened. I know I sound weird because I just was just on the other live. It just booted us. It completely booted us off. This has happened maybe twice in my whole time on YouTube, where I just got completely booted off in the middle of a video, alive. Um, that's really weird. Okay, so just in case you are seeing this video for the first time, there is a part one of this video where we actually started getting into some of the things to consider when talking to or considering to talk to your partner about sex. Okay. Um, so we had gotten through, hey, how you doing? So we had gotten through the first couple of points. The first point was that 65% of couples here in the U.S. They are not able to say that they are satisfied with their sex life. Okay. And then the second thing that we talked about was that um, that one thing that keeps us from getting our sexual needs met is thinking that our partner is going to thinking that they should already know, or thinking that our partner is going to figure it out. Okay. And so then we were getting to the third thing to consider. um, the third thing to consider is that that keeps us from getting our sexual needs met. It's fear. It keeps us Fear keeps us from actually being able to express what we feel like we need to express, because we're worried about being rejected. Okay, so fear is the last thing to consider when talking to your partner. You want to make sure that even though you are afraid, that you're being honest with your partner. Because what's the point in being with someone that that you can't be your true self with? I mean, then you're just going to be living a lie the entire time. Well, I mean, unless you're okay with that, and that's fine too. But just know, what the outcome is, the consequences are of doing something like that. Okay. Now, okay, let me go over. Uh, Andrew says, see if there is something you like, would it be, hold on, would it be best to let her know, like, hey, this is what I'm into, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to? Um, well, okay, so again, we'll get into what exactly, what are some things you can say in the conversation. Okay, I don't want to answer that prematurely. Okay, all right, so okay. Now that we talked about the things to consider, we are going to go ahead and talk about um, how you can prep and be ready for this conversation. Okay. All right. So, the first thing that I would recommend doing um, when you make the decision that you want to have this conversation, you are going to, first of all, you're going to have to like be lighthearted about it. You're going to have to kind of like, be flirtatious with it, because who wants to have a conversation about sex where you sound like the prosecuting attorney? You know, so at least make the conversation fun. Like make the conversation something that's going to excite them, and not bring this conversation up like we need to talk, or like, just don't throw a negative connotation on the conversation, because you want to make sure that you are creating an environment that's going to make them feel comfortable and at ease, because who's going to want to be vulnerable with you and share the deepest parts of them, um, if the conversation feels like oh, we're about to have a serious talk, you know? Okay, so that's the first thing I would say. Make sure that you bring this conversation up in a very lighthearted manner, and make sure you pick good timing. Okay, a good time is not when the kids are just coming home, or a good time is not when, you know, when your partner is stressed, they just came home from work. That's not a good time. So make sure that, you know, timing is everything. What you're going to say, how you're going to say it, mainly how you're going to say it, and timing. That's important. Okay. Now, so you're deciding you're going to talk to this person about sex. Okay. You're setting the mood. You're making sure that you're not, you know, bringing this up under negative connotation. So, you know, you're being a little flirty with it. Okay. All right. Now, I would suggest making this conversation about them and fulfilling their desires and filling their wants. Okay. If you feel really vulnerable and you don't want to be rejected, which most people don't, because sex is a very sensitive subject. And, you know, when you get turned down or rejected surrounding this very sensitive subject, it can be very like damaging. Okay. So, what you're going to do is, instead of talking about yourself, you're going to ask them if there's something different that they want to do in the bedroom, and or if there's anything new that they would like to try. Okay. So now you have pretty much opened up conversation, and you pretty much put it all on them. But the fact that you're bringing it up in such a lighthearted manner, and you are really sounding like you are sincere, you know, and you really do sincerely want to know what your partner likes and wants, it sort of disarms them. You know, it allows them to be comfortable enough to even want to share with you. Okay. So that's why you, again, you know, the first thing we talked about is keeping it light. That's why you want to keep it light, because your approach is going to be putting it pretty much on them, like, hey, you know, are you satisfied? Is there something that you would like to try, or something that you want, you know, like anything you want to do different in the bedroom? You know, you want to be like that. Okay. Now, let me go to the chats. You guys are so funny. Okay. So Guillermo says, wow, you look so wild with the curls. I look wild. Thanks, Guillermo. I miss my lips. Y'all crazy. Dr. Feel Good. You guys are so crazy. All right. So it looks like you guys are just talking amongst yourselves in there. Okay. So, well, I'm glad you showed up. Okay. To class. All right. So after you know, put it back on them, then you're going to, you know, let me see. Hold on. All right. You want to make sure that you are looking, you know, to understand and to learn. Okay. Once you open up the box and you're like, hey, what do you think? What do you like? Is there anything different you want to do? Okay. You're going to look to understand and to learn. Do not make this a moment of taking things in a negative way. If they do indeed say, you know, yeah, you know, I really haven't been satisfied lately, or something like that. You know, you never know what they're going to say. Or they could say, yeah, well, I would like to try X, Y, and Z. Or they could not answer you at all and just kind of be like, no, no, everything is good, okay? But if they answer you back and they're telling you that certain things they would like to change, don't take this as a moment to internalize anything that's being said, like, and turn that on yourself and, do this woe is me. And, oh, the point is to get the information so that you can fix whatever is happening and, make this an enjoyable situation for the both of you. Okay. So, looking to understand and you're looking to learn. You're not looking to take this as an opportunity to feel rejected or to feel, like you're not doing things right. Okay. Because if you think about it, honestly, most people that don't want to hurt your feelings are not going to tell you something that they think will hurt your feelings. Okay. So, all right. Now that you understand, you're looking for understanding and you're looking to learn after you've asked your partner what they like. If they suggest doing something that you are not comfortable with, what you're going to do is you're going to ask them to take baby steps. Like, is this something, something you can work up to? I'm not exactly sure what everybody's preference is. So, I mean, I could give you examples, but whatever the request is, or, whatever it is that they like, and you're kind of uncomfortable with it, see if it's something that you can take baby steps with. Okay. Something that you can work your way up to. Okay. Now, if it's something that not only are you uncomfortable with, but you are like absolutely positively not doing it, okay, tell them that it's something you need to think about, or you can just let them know that's not something you wish to experience. Okay. Now, the first choice is, it's something that I need to think about that. Okay. You would use that one if you know you're with someone who, it doesn't matter what you say. If you turn them down, then they always, then it hurts their feelings. Okay. That first line is to spare people's feelings. Let me think about that. Okay. But, if you feel more connected or more open with your partner, you just let them know, yeah, that's not really something I want to experience. That way you're not saying no, because that word no really hurts, especially when you're talking about sex. So that word no, it does hurt. You know, this is someone that you are with, someone that you love, and, hearing really hurts sometimes when it comes to sexual things. Okay. So just be delicate. Now that you are able to, open the conversation up and you've got some weapons for a request that may be out of your league or something you don't want to do, now you're equipped to answer those things. Now, understand that if you're opening up this conversation with them and you guys have never had this conversation before, that this may be something that they're shy about talking about. Okay. And that's probably why they never talked to you about it in the first place. So sometimes when you present when you present a topic to someone that can kind of be, tabooish, like sex is currently, then they tend to shy away the first time. They might sit in the conversation with you, but they won't tell you anything, or they'll swear that everything is okay when in all actuality it's not, and they're too timid to talk about it. So I will say, let them know if they think of anything later on, after you guys finish talking about the conversation, if they ever think about anything, later that they might want to share, to let them know that you're open to hearing what it is that they have to say. Let them know that you're open to exploring, their ideals and their thoughts and their feelings on the subject, so that, it allows them to not have to try and find a way to bring the subject up again. But they know that they can bring it up at any time because you just told them that you were open to hear what they had to say. Okay. And the last thing, kind of ties in with what I just said. The last thing is you might have to have this conversation a couple times. You might have to bring, bring the subject to them a few times before they are actually comfortable enough letting loose and being vulnerable and being open about it. So don't get discouraged if you talk to them the first time and they tell you nothing's wrong and then maybe they come back later. Or don't get discouraged if the first time you talk to them and, they're saying that, you know, or maybe they feel a little shy about the conversation. You can tell they feel uncomfortable. You might have to have the conversation a couple times, okay? So don't be discouraged if you don't get the information that you're seeking the very first time around. That's okay. People, sometimes you have to warm people up. Sometimes, and again, this is a very touchy subject currently, so you have to, lay the groundwork. All right, so let me go to the comments. See you guys. Okay. All right. So I hope that this has helped you. I hope that, I hope that the campaign that, that has been kicked off, the It's Okay to Say Sex campaign, can bring us to a place where we don't have people who are, we want to educate those people that are very immature about sex. We want to educate those people who are inappropriate with sex, because you can be inappropriate with sex. To be open about it is one thing, but to take advantage of the subject and take advantage of people with the subject, that's another thing. Okay, so we want to make sure that everybody is knowledgeable and that everybody has had a chance to understand the importance and the responsibility of cultivating your sexuality, but also making sure that you are being responsible with your sexuality. So anyway, go over to www.sensualinnovations.com. You can find the It's Okay to Say Sex campaign page, or you can just go www.sensualinnovations.com/it's okay to say sex. Okay, the information is down in the description box. We are taking donations. There are official campaign shirts that go out to donors that donate a certain dollar amount, and you guys will see that it's a club that you get entered to for donating. Okay, so again, I hope this has helped you, and we will see you again next week, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, all right, guys, love ya. Mwah, 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 mwah.